Hey everybody, welcome back to my first official video about Regulation D. We're not going to count the announcement video because, you know, I don't feel like it. I can do what I want. This is my channel. Anyway, today, I don't have battles for you. I'm not quite ready for that yet. Maybe in, you know, like another day or two, we'll see. But today, what I have for you is, just based on, like, my preliminary, like, playing and, like, thinking about it and, like, seeing what other people are playing. These are some Pokemon that I think have some kind of weird potential in Regulation D. I'm sure other people have talked about some of these. Some of these, maybe they're unique to me. I don't know. But these are some specific Pokemon that I feel like, for whatever reason, are going to be surprisingly good in Regulation D if you make the right team. That's kind of the direction we're going in here. Some of them might be obvious. I don't know. But let's jump into it. As always, guys, if you like the video, leave me a big fat like. Leave me a comment. And as always, if you enjoy the content of any content creator out there, the best thing you can do for them is to subscribe or follow them. It pushes their numbers through the roof. That is the #1 thing that every algorithm says, oh, people like this video, is when you follow them or you subscribe off of one of their posts or their content. #1 thing you can do for them. Not saying you have to do it for me, but do some other content creators a favor today. If you're watching their content regularly and you're not subscribed to them, go subscribe to them. Anyway, the first Pokemon I want to talk about is Bramblegast. And there's a very important reason for this. Bramblegast has the brand new ability to this generation called Wind Rider. And what Wind Rider does, if you don't know, it makes you immune to all wind moves. And if you are hit by a wind move or Tailwind is set on your side of the field, you get an attack boost, basically. It's kind of like, it's not really like Lightning Rod because it doesn't like redirect wind moves. But it's kind of like Lightning Rod for wind moves. Now, if we don't know, we're going to look up the ability here so we can look at the list of all of the wind moves. Just so you can see. There weren't that many moves that were... Where is the list of wind moves? It should be right here. There used to be a list of wind moves here, I swear to God. That's so weird. Aw, man, I'm out here just, like, ruining my whole, Okay, here's a list of wind moves. Air Cutter, Bleak Wind, Storm, Blizzard, Fairy Wind, Gust, Heat Wave, Hurricane, Icy Wind, Petal Blizzard, Sandstorm Storm, Sandstorm, Springtide Storm, Tailwind Twister, Whirlwind, Wildbolt Storm. Now, there are 4 moves on this list that no Pokemon could learn until Regulation D. And now we're in Regulation D, and these 4 moves can now be learned by Pokemon, and they're going to be more relevant, I think. So if we look at it here, Landorus has Sandstorm Storm, Thundurus has Wildbolt Storm, Enamorus has Springtide Storm, and Tornadus has Hurricane, Bleak Wind Storm, and Icy Wind, and it might even learn Blizzard, though I don't know, it doesn't get Blizzard, but I don't know why I would ever run it. Anyway, essentially, these 4 Pokemon are really good, and they're going to be all over the place. So, the idea here is that if these Pokemon are going to be all over the place, and you're going to be clicking these moves a lot, that Wind Rider gets a huge boon. It becomes a much better ability because it has a higher chance of being activated, and Bramblegast is weak to a lot of those moves anyway. I mean, it's not weak to the ground one and the electric one, but the flying type one it's certainly weak to. Icy Wind it's weak to. You get immunity to Blizzard, and with Blizzard spam becoming more common every single day, that's kind of huge. You have immunity to Icy Wind, which means they can't lower your speed stat. Not that your speed stat's very high anyway, but being immune to Icy Wind is still kind of big. It means you can switch in on those very obvious Icy Winds. And all of this together, I don't know, I just feel like it's going to make Bramblegast just like that little bit better. Maybe I'll make a video about it at some point in the future. I probably will. But Bramblegast is not like a terrible Pokemon. Really, the only thing holding it back is that it only has 90 base speed. If they had min-maxed Bramblegast stats like a tiny bit more, I feel like it'd be a little bit better. Like, if it was a little bit less bulky and had like, I don't know, even just like 110 speed. You know what I mean? Really, the biggest problem with Bramblegast is that it doesn't have very many good attacking moves. Like, it's that kind of Pokemon where they went, oh, you don't need any physical ghost type moves, so the best one you have is Phantom Force, which is really kind of unfortunate. I suppose you could run like Terra Blast, Ghost, and run like Ghost Terra, but that's, you know, not usually super good, but you are okay into Fluttermane. You can knock them out with the Shadow Sneak. And like the best grass type move you get is Power Whip. I don't think you get Seed Bomb actually. Oh, you do get Seed Bomb, so you can run Seed Bomb or Power Whip. That's just really the biggest thing here is that Bramblegast move pool kind of holds it back. But I feel like if more and more Pokemon are going to be running these wind-based moves, like you might as well take advantage with Wind Rider. I think maybe you'll catch somebody off guard and it could be kind of good. Another thing, I think people are already talking about this, but I'll take a second to talk about it. Landorus Incarnate with either Sand Force or Sheer Force, but probably Sheer Force. If you toss a Life Orb on here, Sandsear Storm becomes a stupidly strong move. First of all, if you don't know, Sandsear Storm has the special property, just like Hurricane, that if rain is set, it does not miss. It does not perform an accuracy check. It cannot miss. So it is a base 100 power spread move. Sheer Force gives it a 30% boost, so it becomes a base 130 power special ground type spread move. You can throw Stab on that. You can throw Terra Ground on top of that. You can throw a Life Orb on there. And if you have Sheer Force and you click a move with a extra effect that is being negated by Sheer Force, it also negates your Life Orb recoil, which is kind of super interesting. All of that together means that this is basically like Choice Band Precipice Blades from Groudon, except it's special and it can't miss. And that could be kind of scary. This is not like a sleeper pick. Like, people have talked about this, but I just want to take a second to tell you about it because it sounds like it might be kind of scary if people could figure out how to make it happen consistently. Now, there are a lot of Pokemon that are ground immune in the format. There are a lot of Pokemon that terrestrialize into things that are ground immune. So, that's kind of, maybe it'll be a moot point, but it's something to keep in mind. The next Pokemon I want to talk about, I put Misdreavus here, but it's really just any Pokemon with Levitate. If you don't, so before we talk about this, we have to talk about Ursa Luna. Ursa Luna is a very strong Pokemon. You toss a Flame Orb on here, right? You have the ability Guts, so you get burned. Your attack stat is 140 with maximum investment because you can afford to just run maximum investment because Ursa Luna is already so bulky with like no investment. It's kind of insane. You hit 211, which is a huge attack stat. You get a 1.5 boost from Guts. Your attack stat is basically, it's like 320 almost, which is kind of dumb. Anyway, most Ursa Luna, at least, and all the ones that I have faced, I haven't, I've played a good amount of games, but I haven't like been in like the very top of the ladder the last couple of days. Most Ursa Luna are not running things that will be able to hit a ghost type with Levitate. Like literally, they run ground type moves and they run Facade and maybe they run Close Combat. None of these moves are going to hit a ghost type with Levitate. And now Ursa Luna does have the ability to, run stuff like Crunch, I guess. So it could, adapt to hit those Pokemon, but 90% of the time it really just doesn't need to. It actually is a crazy move pool. You get Seed Bomb, you get Shadow Claw. It has the ability to adapt, but right now, most Ursa Luna are not running moves that can hit a Ghost type with Levitate. So any Levitate Pokemon, if you can afford to Terrestrialize to Ghost, you can probably just become immune to any Ursa Luna that you face. Just completely immune. And here's the other thing about Misdreavus. Misdreavus gets Grassnot, and actually this is a move I want to talk about really quick here because Grassnot is a base 120 power move into Ursa Luna, and it's pretty good into like Urshifu Rapid Strike as well. It's a base 100 move, but Urshifu Rapid Strike has like no special defense, so that helps a little bit. I think that like Surprise Grassnot could actually be a pretty viable option for the format. I mean, it'll hit like Landorus for neutral, but you'll hit Ursa Luna for weakness. You'll hit Urshifu Rapid Strike for weakness. Any other water Pokemon that people are going to run to try and run on their rain teams, you're going to hit for weakness, and I think that's going to be pretty good. I think that's enough to like justify running Grassnot. I was testing it on a Moongus the other day, and it was pretty good. So like this is a move to keep your eye on, and just any Pokemon with Levitate that can Terrestrialize the Ghost or any Ghost type that already has Levitate, like Misdreavus, I think it'd be super amazing, especially like Foul Play. Like Foul Play into Ursa Luna's got to do a good chunk of damage. But yeah, I don't know. This is just something I was thinking about. Most Levitate Pokemon, especially if you can Terrestrialize to ground, are just going to be able to just ignore Ursa Luna, and that's kind of important, I feel like. Just something to keep your mind. Especially if you're building an Ursa Luna, this is something to keep in mind, because I feel like this is something people are going to adapt to include on their teams. Now that we've talked about Ursa Luna, there's another Pokemon that is kind of related to it. And it's Grimmsnarl. And it's because Grimmsnarl is the only prankster Misty Terrain user. At least I'm pretty sure. We can double check. But I'm pretty sure that we're the only prankster Misty Terrain user. Oh no, Klefki gets it, I guess. But Klefki and Grimmsnarl, if we're gonna consider both of them because we might as well. They both get prankster Misty Terrain. And what I realized the other day, what Misty Terrain does is it prevents Ursa Luna from getting burned. So if like you're going up against an opponent and they lead, like their Ursa Luna, Cresselia, whatever, you can try to stop their Trick Room, or you can just set up Misty Terrain. Now their Ursa Luna like doesn't hit nearly as hard, and you can probably deal with it a lot better. Just something to keep in mind. Grimstone also does get Foul Play. I don't know if it gets any other moves that can kind of like hit the Ursa Luna for weakness. I guess you get Ice Punch, but you're really not going to be doing a whole lot of damage there. Trailblaze is funny. You could trick their item away, but then you're going to get burned, and nobody really wants that. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like Misty Terrain here could be really... If we had like Tapu Fini, it would be stupidly amazing right now. But Misty Terrain setters, just to stop your opponent from burning their own Ursa Luna, I think could become like a niche thing. And it has the added benefit of stopping your opponent from like using Hypnosis or like Sleep Powder or anything like that on you. So, I don't know. I'd keep an eye out for Grimstone and Klefki. That Prankster Misty Terrain I think is going to be kind of amazing. But, only time will tell. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. The next Pokemon I want to talk about is Hisuian Arcanine. Now, on paper, this Pokemon doesn't look amazing. Like, it just has okay stats. 115 attack is pretty good. 90 speed is fine. But you can set a Tailwind up. You can give it like a Choice Scarf. You'll be able to outspeed the things with Choice Scarf. You hit the magic like 139 number to outspeed everything that isn't named Regieleki. So that's cool. But the one thing that you get that I think is really going to help you out is you have Rockhead Head Smash. This is not a combination that we get to see too often. Or at least if we do see it, the Pokemon that has it can't really afford to run Rockhead. Like if we look at all the Pokemon that have Rockhead, we have Sudowoodo, which I guess if it learns Head Smash could run it. Basculin, the Blue Stripe one, I don't think has Head Smash. All these other Pokemon aren't legal, but they never really run like Rockhead Head Smash. Like Relicanth really wants to run Swift Swim. Tyrantrum's just not a good Pokemon. Aggron's not a good Pokemon. Steelix is not a good Pokemon. Aerodactyl you could maybe justify. I don't know. I feel like it usually wants to run something else. But, actually, I think they took Head Smash away from Aerodactyl, if I'm not mistaken. But Rockhead Head Smash is not something we get to see very often. Because Head Smash is a base 150 power Rock-type move. It's 80% accurate, so you have that drawback. But the big drawback with it is that it has 50% of your HP recoil. But if you have the ability Rockhead, you just ignore all recoil damage. So you don't care. You have a base 150 power move. Yes, it is 80% accurate, but I feel like the power is strong enough that you can deal with that. That is just going to one-shot anything that's weak to it. So, like, all of the genies that we were talking about earlier, the Thundurus, the Enamorus, the Tornadus, they're just gone. That's it, they're gone. Enamorus, I have learned, does not eat hits as well as it looks like it should. It does not take this Rockhead. It does not take this Head Smash. Other Pokemon that don't want to eat this, Iron Bundle, if you can get the jump on them, they don't eat this Head Smash. There's no, and maybe in the snow they eat it, but outside of snow, there's no way that they eat this Head Smash. Opposing Fire-type Pokemon, like, I mean, Heatran really doesn't want to take this. It will, but it doesn't really want to take this Head Smash. It'll still take a good chunk of damage from it. Other Pokemon that were added that are good, let me think for a second. It's just doing big damage to anything that's neutral. Like, I want to say this probably does like 50% to a Cresselia. I didn't add anything else to this list here. Let's look at all the flying types, because there's a lot of like flying type Pokemon right now that are kind of relevant, which is kind of crazy. Let's see here. I think Gyarados is going to fall in usage, but Gyarados, you do hit for weakness. You hit Jump Left for weakness. Moltres Galar is, I think, going to be a good Pokemon. Maybe we'll add at the end of the list here, because people are sleeping on it right now. But you hit Moltres Galar for weakness, you probably knock it out. You knock out Pelipper. Yeah, I don't know. I think you knock a lot of things out with this Head Smash, and I think that's going to be relevant. And that's just really the only reason here. With Rockhead, you ignore all recoil damage. You can also run Flare Blitz. You can also run Wild Charge. I think those are really like the main recoil damage moves that you get. it's just something to keep in mind. I think this head smash can be really strong on the right team, and it's something to keep out for. If you see a Hisuian Arcanine, now you know what it's going to do. The next Pokemon I want to talk about is Gastron. Storm Drain is good. You know what else? You know other Pokemon is good? You can make Storm Drain even better? Urshifu. You know what makes Gastron even better into that Urshifu? Urshifu could normally do like a good chunk of damage to you with close combat. Well, you don't care anymore because now you can become Terra Poison, or you know whatever insert type here. You can become Terra Ghost if you want or whatever, and kind of just ignore that damage because now you resist fighting and or are immune to fighting. And you kind of hit a lot of relevant stuff for weakness with your Ice Beam. Like I said, there's a lot of flying types. There's a lot of Landorus's running around. Ice Beam's super good. It's just like a coverage move. You have Muddy Water, so you can hit those Landorus's for weakness that way if you want to. You hit Ursa Luna for weakness with Muddy Water. I think Gastron's going to be a pretty decent Pokemon just because of Storm Drain. There's going to be a lot of Rain teams that creep up just because all of those new wind moves that the genies get are boosted by Rain, except for Springtime Storm is not boosted by Rain, which is kind of sad, but I don't know. It's a good utility Pokemon. Storm Drain's going to be a good ability, I think. Something to keep your eye out for. Hisuian Electrode, this is going to sound weird. So, Hisuian Electrode is one of the few Pokemon that outspeeds Regieleki and, it outspeeds Regieleki and Iron Bundle really easily with a Choice Scarf. If we run like a speed boosting nature, we only have to run... There you go. That's where the jump is. Interesting. If you do that, there you go. You outspeed Aleki and you outspeed Iron Bundle. And you're not even running full speed investment. You could run like... I think you have to run max special attack to actually KO Iron Bundle, but this is not a terrible spread here. And you get Grassnot, which again I have stated is a kind of important move. I don't know how heavy Iron Bundle is, but it might be heavy enough that this Grassnot will just take it out. Volt Switch will take it out if you run max special attack investment. Scary Face is good speed control. You could throw T-Wave on here, but T-Wave will not work against Regieleki or like Landorus, so keep that in mind. You get other really cool moves. You get Foul Play, which is neat. You can just run Leaf Storm if you don't want to take a gamble on Grassnot. You can run it on a Rain team with Thunder. It's just a really fast, aggressive Grass and Electric type Pokemon, and those are two typings that are really relevant to hit because you know you'll hit all those flying types with a Volt Switch. You could run it on Sun and run like Solar Beam if you really want to. I don't know. It's just something that I want to keep in mind. Just like something I'm making you aware of. Like this is a Pokemon that could maybe do some things. It does counter some relevant Pokemon just by being so fast and hitting them for weakness. I don't think it gets any ground type coverage. Otherwise, I'd be saying you straight up beat Regieleki. No, it doesn't look like it. So that's kind of sad. But, like, Regieleki's not doing any damage to you. You 4 times resist it. I guess maybe if it's Terra Ice, Terra Blast, they'll do a decent chunk to you. But I don't think they're going to KO. Like, Electrode's stats are not, like, god-awful. You have pretty decent defense HP. Like, this is fine bulk. You probably eat 1 Terra Ice, Terra Blast from Regieleki. But, yeah, I don't know. It's a cool Pokemon. If Electrode can make it to the, not the finals, but, like, day 2 at a regional, like, regular Electrode, I don't see any reason why Hisuian Electrode can't. It is basically the same thing, but a little bit better because the typing is a little bit better, I think. Next Pokemon is Sneasler, and it would be the last Pokemon. I'm going to add one on the end here. So Sneasler. You have Unburden, and now we have reliable Grassy Terrain setters, so you can do Grassy Seed, or you can do Psychic Seed if you would prefer. But basically, Sneasler has 130 base attack, which is pretty good. You can run... This is like very little speed investment to outspeed things after you're Unburdened because you're a pretty fast Pokemon, so you can afford to be Adamant, which means you hit 200 attack, which is pretty good. And really just you hit really hard and you're really fast. So you can run Close Combat, you can run Dire Claw if you want, or I've seen people running Gunk Shot. You can run Acrobatics. You could like run Setup with Bulk Up if you really wanted to. It'd probably be fine. And really just beat the crap out of things, for lack of a better phrase. You can run Terra Flying so that when that when that Ursa Luna tries to come at you with the Earthquake or the Headlong Rush, well, you Terra one time, you get around it, and you probably get a one-hit KO with Close Combat. I don't know if this is probably not the best fighting type Pokemon in the format, but being Fighting Poison is kind of unique. You can maybe eat a Moonblast since you can afford to run so much bulk. So that's kind of cool. And you hit a lot of relevant Pokemon for weakness. So you hit an Amorous for weakness. You hit Ursa Luna for weakness. You hit Rillaboom for weakness. You hit really anything that's weak to flying for weakness too, because you can run acrobatics, which is going to be a really strong move on your setup here. And yeah, I don't know. I think this Pokemon has some potential. I don't know if it's like this Pokemon counters everything, like kind of like the thought process behind Bramblegast. I think this is just a good Pokemon. It's going to take people time to see that this is a good Pokemon. The last thing I want to talk about is Moltres, Galarian Moltres. I've played against it a couple of times. It's pretty good. It can be really bulky. You can run next to redirection, and let me tell you, Fiery Wrath is such a good move. There are so many times where I've been running Dark Pulse on things, and I'm just like, man, if this Pokemon just learned Fiery Wrath, I would feel 10 times better about my position. Yeah. Oh, the other thing is the Chi-Yu. I haven't talked about Chi-Yu. Chi-Yu is everywhere. Chi-Yu is on like so many teams. It's super good. It's not always with Flutter Mane, but it does sometimes come with Flutter Mane. And Sneasler will probably just eat a Chi-Yu Flutter Mane lead. Like literally, like put a little bit of salt on them and have them with like on a cracker like foie gras or something. But yeah, Galarian Moltres, it's pretty bulky. It's got like really good bulk, 90 HP, 90 defense, 125 special defense. That special defense is really important. You can Terrastalize to get rid of your Fairy type weakness if you're afraid. Or you can Terra Dark and just like embrace that you're going to be doing stupid damage with your Fiery Wrath. Flying and Dark type coverage are both really good. All of your moves have chance to flinch, which can be super amazing for you. You get Nasty Plot. Your ability, when you're below 50 HP, you get a special attack boost. You run like a Citrus Berry, you can get 2 special attack boosts for free. Or you can heal yourselves with Cresselia's new move, or Pollen Puff, or, I don't know, Heal Pulse if you really want to. I don't know. There's a lot of just stuff that this Pokemon does, and I think it's going to be good. I think it has a lot of potential. I don't think it's going to be good right away, but I think, like, maybe we'll get surprised and, like, we'll play this format for a month on, like, the ladder and, like, people doing room tours and stuff. And then the World Championships, somebody in the top is going to have Galarian Moltres. And we're all going to be like, oh, my God, why didn't we think of running Galarian Moltres before? This is what this format, because that's kind of, like, a lot of what this format's going to be like. We're going to be playing it, and, like, those of us who are not going to the World Championships are going to discuss it freely. But a lot of the best players that are going to the World Championships are not going to share their strategies with us. They are just going to like keep it secret so they can drop a surprise on everybody at the World Championships, and that's fine. Like, they got to do that. That is important for them. But this is the kind of Pokemon where like Wolfie Glick brings Galarian Moltres to the World Championships, and everybody goes, "Wow, why didn't we all think of bringing Galarian Moltres?" You know what I mean? Same thing for kind of like Sneasler. Maybe not Electrode, but maybe the Hisuian Arcanine. But yeah, those are some Pokemon I think we should keep an eye out for. What do you think? Are there any Pokemon that you're thinking about that you're like, man, this Pokemon might be really good. I hope nobody figures it out before me so I can be the first person to run it and take YouTube by storm? Maybe not exactly that thought process, but sometimes that's how I think. But yeah, let me know what you're thinking. Are there any Pokemon you're looking out for? Make sure that you like and comment, and again, any content creator that you enjoy, go subscribe to them today, because it's the best thing you can do for them, I promise. And with that, everybody, my name is Andrew. I will catch you guys next time.